Nigeria assures China of its support at this critical moment of the ravaging coronavirus. Police confirms the arrest of a suspect with improvised explosive device in Kaduna Church. Plus, Agriculture Minister cautions against food wastage as he inspects grain silos in Jigawa. These and more form our lineup for this Monday's edition of Panorama. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Ian Ray John. Towards forestalling the spread of the Lassa fever disease in the state, the people of Abuja State have been sensitized to take preventive measures against the resurgence of the Lassa fever disease by cleaning the markets in the state. Steve Nwakulu reports.
The resurgence of the deadly Lassa fever with the death of a 28-year-old man at Olokoro community, Umuahia, Abia State, on the 1st of January 2020 has no doubt drawn the attention of the state government towards taking steps to contain the spread of the disease by inaugurating a regular sanitation exercise in the markets.
If it is Lassa fever, for example, we are talking about indiscriminate burning of bushes and so on. They should keep their place and cover their food.
It ensures to sweep the environment when you are done with your work.
To sweep it very well. I do the necessary clean up. The major thing is they should have an organized refuse dump so that all the wastes will be channeled there.
Experts further advocate the maintenance of minimum hygienic standards of washing one's hands with soap at all times, avoid exposure of food grains, fumigation of the environment to get rid of the rats, as well as keeping the markets and the immediate environments clean.
So we should try as much as possible to avoid spreading our food to all these environments that increases its contact with these multi-mammoth rats. Some people feed on rats, they see it as a very good food. So at this point in time, we should, as much as possible, stop use of rats as a food product.
As the relevant authorities intensify efforts to bring the situation under control, it then behoves on the people to ensure a cleaner environment at all times. In Umuahia, Steve Nwakulu, NTA News.
And on security, the Nigerian Army has rewarded 37 officers and soldiers in the Northeast Theatre of Operation Lafia Dole. A statement by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Ilyasu, indicates that the reward is aimed at boosting the troops' morale in the Northeast. Details of the award revealed that the officers are to receive special commendation letters, while soldiers will be awarded promotion to their next respective ranks. Breaking language barriers is one way the Nigerian Army is forging civil-military relations in various communities where operations are carried out. Correspondent Najato Tijana reports on graduates of the Indigenous Languages Proficiency Course 7 who are already put into practice their newly acquired language skills.
Imagine a scenario where a military personnel from Akwa Ibom State is proficient in Hausa. This is the case with Lieutenant Victoria, who is from Michuka in Adamawa State. Her native tongue is Hiki, but she now speaks two other indigenous languages.
Yoruba language and Igbo language.
Can you say something in Yoruba for me?
Okay, let me start with Igbo, outside Igbo, Yoruba. Otuto Omanu. Yes, then thank you, Esheo, Adupe.
Lieutenant Victoria and her Course 7 mates are now proficient in the three major Nigerian languages of Igbo, Hausa and Yoruba, having been awarded certificates of proficiency.
Credible and reliable intelligence, which on its part depends on the ability to communicate with the local populace. Effective communication on its part will require some level of proficiency in the local dialect of the operating environment.
The proficiency course is part of value-added services of the Nigerian Army, aimed at building capacity of personnel and boosting security operations in the country. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
And in agriculture, as part of plans to reduce food wastage and engage headers for economic sustainability, the federal government is to establish 2 milk processing plants in Jigawa State this year. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Muhammad Sabo Nanunu said this while on an inspection visit to food silos in Jahun local government area of the state. Awal Kazari reports.
The Jahun federal government-owned 25,000 metric ton silos is among the 34 established for storage of grains and being sold to people at subsidized prices during drought. The minister, while inspecting the facility, said the federal government will purchase and distribute over 10,000 tractors to farmers across the country to enhance mechanized farming. He announced plan to set up agro-allied industries in each of the state of the Federation, with Jigawa to benefit from 2 dairy processing plants.
I am here to see our silos, which we lease to some companies. One, to see whether really they are doing the jobs that they say they are going to do. I have seen some semblance of it here. And we are reviewing all these concessions, where the consignee has met all the necessary conditions, will allow them to operate. Those that have not, we are going to revoke and get them back to us.
During the visit, the minister had interacted with farmer groups and advised them to embrace mechanized farming and plant more cash crops. He also paid homage at the palace of the Emir of Dutse, Dr. Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
And if you just joined us, this is Panorama live on the network service of the NTA. The news continues after these messages. Do stay. Welcome back. The National Directorate of Employment, NDE, has presented startup capital to 200 unemployed persons in Suleja, Gurara and Tafa Federal Constituency of Niger State. The NDE collaborated with the Madugu Takwa Foundation and presented the cash in Suleja at a ceremony sponsored by the former Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawa Buhari.
Millions of Nigerians are unemployed. Every effort made to change this narrative will go a long way in reducing poverty in the land. A non-governmental organization, Mahadul Takawa, collaborated with the National Directorate of Employment in keying into the programs of this administration, especially the social intervention programs meant to cushion poverty in Nigeria. The NDE, under its Micro Enterprise Enhancement Scheme, presented some cash to 200 youth and women from Suleja, Gurara, and Tafa local government areas of Niger State to boost their businesses.
I will take care of my family and so other things.
It will never buy a spraying machine that will spray my work at the shop.
Speakers are optimistic that with determination, dedication and commitment, starting small is what is difficult. Growing big is not.
The DG ND is so passionate about the challenges facing the whole society today. The present agenda is to bring out 100 million people out of poor people out of poverty, and that cannot be done alone by government. We need NGOs, we need foundations like this, we need private sector to come in.
In business, one requires patience and commitment. It's not the amount that matters.
Mahadul Takawa Foundation, while promising to monitor the activities of the beneficiaries to ensure judicious use of the startup capital, pledged continuing support to all government efforts aimed at generating employment opportunities and safeguarding the well-being of women and youths. In Suleja, Mukhtar Abubakaru, NTA News.
We'll take another short break. Panorama continues in a bit. Thanks for staying. Once misunderstood as a symbol of oppression, the hijab is now gaining worldwide recognition as a positive symbol of dignity for the Muslim woman. Correspondent Najatu Tijani gained the perspective of different Muslim women who attended the World Hijab Day lecture in Abuja.
Although they hail from different tribes and backgrounds, they are bonded by sisterhood in Islam, with the hijab as their identity. one which Rukaya in her 20s wears proudly.
I'm currently doing my master's program. When people see you, there's a respect that comes with your dressing. Ignorant comments have been said. I've understood that it came from a place of not understanding.
Such misconceptions are what the Coalition of Muslim Women Societies says need to be gently but firmly corrected. And the annual World Hijab Day, established in 2013 by Nazma Khan, provides such a platform.
Hijab is in obedience to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the woman should cover.
Misconception that people have with the wearing a hijab is that you cannot achieve and you cannot become what you want to become because you are dressed in a certain way. This is not so.
The way I dress has never in any way been an obstacle either to me achieving or realizing my full potential as a woman.
Our young girls, especially in the universities now, are making it easy because they are coming out with first class. They are hijabis and they are always the best all-round students all over in all the universities in Nigeria.
With so many misconceptions about the hijab, young people are beginning to talk about and even write about what hijab means to them.
As a proud Muslim, hijab is my life.
Lectures, discussions and school performances, all hailing the right to wear the hijab, a right which Rukaya says promotes rather than stunts her. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called on corporate bodies and well-meaning Nigerians to support the humanitarian services going on at the various IDP camps. At a fundraising held in Lagos for indigent students, the Vice President says more involvement of the private sector will play a key role in taking thousands of boys and girls off the streets and the IDP camps. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
As the Vice President observes, most of the humanitarian services are provided by international non-governmental organizations supporting the federal government towards rebuilding the devastated areas, but describes the local private response as still so little.
The tragedy of conflict and its outcomes in poverty and displacement is stark. Governments alone cannot handle it.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo calls underlining the significance of joint efforts towards addressing the challenge of poverty in affected areas.
And the best efforts of the Borno state government, the former and present governors, by the way, are outstanding public servants, and the state is certainly fortunate to have them. But so much more is left undone. So much more still needs to be done. There are still thousands, especially girls, in the camps, and some roaming the streets waiting for the second chance that only committed persons and organizations of conscience can offer. And so I urge you to join in that effort as soon as possible.
The Vice President commends organizers for their commitment to promoting quality education over the last 3 decades.
The First Lady is particularly...
First Lady Aisha Buhari was represented at the occasion, received commendation for the promotion of the well-being of women and children in the country. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Members of the Redeemed Christian Church of God nationwide held a peaceful procession to seek God's face on ending insecurity, incessant killings, banditry and kidnappings experienced across the country. Elizabeth Omoye reports that the General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God led a peaceful procession.
Members of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, led by Pastor Enoch Adeboye, took to the streets of Lagos to bring to the attention of the government the need to adopt more proactive measures to reduce the menace in the country. Amidst prayers and songs of praise, the parishioner walked from the headquarters of the church in Ebutimeta to major streets in Lagos, carrying placards of different inscriptions on security.
The Christians are aware and they want things to change.
Similarly, in Abuja, members of the church also held processions to emphasize the need for Nigerians to support the government in the fight against insecurity.
Move around and pray for healing in our land, for help for our leaders.
Our prayer as a church and as a national body of Christians is that peace should return to our nation.
The Prayer and Praise Walk is a directive of the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) on winning the war against insurgency and other crimes the nation is grappling with.
And on coronavirus, President Muhammadu Buhari extends his good wishes to President Xi Jinping and citizens of the People's Republic of China during this trying period. China's efforts to contain the spread of the coronavirus have been exemplary, as well as the country's collaboration with international agencies and other countries on the matter. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Buhari notes that China has been exceptionally supportive of Nigeria and Africa, and even more so in recent years. Therefore, it is important to let China know that Nigeria and her citizens are also standing by them at this trying period. He notes that with the efforts put in place, the nightmare will soon pass. President Buhari commends Nigerians for their hospitality towards Chinese nationals and for not letting the coronavirus outbreak create any disturbance or disrupt the peaceful coexistence between Nigeria and China. And now talking sports, National Division 1 League Basketball Championship underway in Lagos. Olumide Ekuntola has this and